welcome to Behind the Mic Radio. I am your host, Dawn Mack, and so glad to have you with us this evening. And it's Tuesday night, and we're ever so slowly getting closer to Friday, thank goodness. And it's not Monday anymore, so hey, things are looking up. And things are definitely looking up tonight because we have a band as our special guest that I think you're going to absolutely love. They are from the Los Angeles, California area, and they are just rocking and rolling and doing some great things in the music world. And I would like to introduce to you Neverwonder. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. So we have, let's see, we have one more. Are you expecting one more band member to call in?
We are the tail of the band. There it is.
Well, I think they may be calling now. Let me see if I can get them on the line with you. Hello, Behind the Mic Radio.
Hi, it's Scott.
Hi, Scott. This is Dawn with Behind the Mic, and I think all your bandmates are on with you.
Yep.
Hey. Wow, we've got Craig, Alina, Vincent, and Scott from Neverwonder, and thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Dre is Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
Well,
I thought you said Greg. I thought you said Greg, and my name is Dre.
It's okay. There's some reverb coming through your line, so if I misheard you, I apologize.
Okay, not a problem. His name is Dre, as in Dr. Dre. But from now on,
Dre. Okay, see, I see that now, Dre. I'm looking at your website, so if I'd have looked first, I would have figured it out.
There you go. Right.
Sorry about that, but now, that reverb makes it sound like you were saying Craig, so I do apologize. But now we're straight, Dre. So hey, and I like the Dr. Dre analogy. That's pretty cool. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. I am very excited to talk with you and find out all about your band and your music, and as I know the listeners are. And I guess the best place to start is just to talk a little bit about how the band was formed. And I know Alina is new to the band, and so we'll get to that in a moment. So I know you guys have got a lot to talk about in terms of what's been going on of late. So talk first about how the band came to be.
All right. The band's been together for about 5 years in a couple incarnations. You know how bands go; they bring people in and out and trying to figure out the function of the band and the groove and the sound and personalities and all that good stuff. And right now we have a pretty good lineup with Alima now and Scott and Dre and myself. But the band basically came out of other all of us players playing in other bands, and then those bands broke up and we got together, and through the trade magazines here in Los Angeles we met up with Scott, and with Scott we're kind of like 2 degrees of separation. All his musician friends are like our musician friends. He recorded CDs at the same recording studio we recorded CDs, and our producer was his producer, and it's really funny. He had seen us play a couple times live, and when we started talking more, we realized how much we had in common in sense of players, music, and everything. And then Dre's my brother, so I can't kick him out of the band, not yet.
That is so cool. I mean, it really was a 6 degrees of separation situation for you guys. Then it sounds like, my gosh, you couldn't have planned that any better. I mean, that couldn't have happened any better than if you'd have went out and orchestrated it yourself. I mean, my gosh, that's just crazy, in such a good way.
Very much.
Now, one thing I'm curious about is, being a band out there in L.A., there's so many music artists out in the L.A. scene. How hard is it as a band to try and get yourselves heard, especially in such a prominent place as L.A., which is one of the diehard music places of the world?
Scott?
Okay.
Scott?
Sure. Well, I think for one thing, because it is such a very busy town, it's really important that you got to be on your P's and Q's. You really got to know what you're about and just be very focused on taking any and all opportunities, like being on your show today, just turning basically over any rock and getting any foothold you can to just continue on your path. A lot of bands in LA can get caught up in just playing Hollywood. A lot of people go there, and I don't know if you're familiar with the pay-to-play scenario for bands, but basically bands sell tickets for an absorbent amount of money to their friends, and these clubs will have them play those nights and pay thousands of dollars just to play there. So sometimes so sometimes you got to realize, we do a cool show in Hollywood when we can, like this upcoming Viper Room show, but at the same time we don't waste our time just in LA, because there are cities all over the world we want to play, and LA is probably one of the hardest nuts to crack. And I've seen a lot of good bands come to this town thinking, oh, I'm going to make, kind of like an actor or an actress, like, oh, I'm here now, it's going to be easy. It's murder. So it definitely tests your wits for sure.
Oh, I bet. And but if you're good, that just helps your cause all the more. And you're so right. I mean, there are so many places in the world to play besides LA. I mean, and even though LA is kind of the scene, for a lot of musicians, it's not the only scene. I mean, there's places all across the country, that would love to have a band like you in their venue playing. And really, as you branch yourselves out, that's just the more familiar people become with you as a band and your music, and that's really the key to it all, for the longevity of things, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, in terms, you guys have been together about 5 years, but musically, how long have you each been in music and been involved with music?
Oh,
wow.
Hey.
Like all my life.
Oh, Don, you're asking a lot. You're asking a very deep, dark secret.
Oh, well.
That's scandalous. You know what I'm saying? No, I think all of us, basically since I'm assuming everybody since they could play and talk and walk and. They've been playing, so it's been a while. It's been at least 6 years.
Well, yeah, at least 6 years. Well, the reason why I asked that question was because, as I listened to your music, I knew that you guys just didn't assemble 5 years ago. I mean, you just have a talent that is beyond the bounds of just a few short years. You can hear it in your music and in the writing. So, I was real curious. Did you guys start when you were like in high school, kind of thing? Because it's a lot. You can tell that there's a lot of longevity there in terms of the talent and the creativity in your music. So that wasn't just born yesterday, for sure. So it's good stuff. Now, I want to talk to Elena because, now, Elena, am I saying your name properly?
It's Alima, but that's close.
Alima, okay. See, I'm so sorry. I'm butchering these names on there, and I don't intend to be. I hate that. I always have that feeling I'm going to do that. Well, Alima, I really want to ask you about your musical background because I know that you are the newest member of the band, and I can tell you your vocals on the EP is just unbelievable. I am just blown away. So you're just a great addition, in my opinion. So talk a little bit about, where you were before Neverwonder.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did start when I always had a love for it when I was a kid. Like, we started off with, like, karaoke and then, like, in school shows and, like, the choir, and then as I took it into my professional career, I moved out to New York, and I did it out there for a while, doing my solo career out there. So it was great because you're in with, like, pretty much all of the fish in the sea, and you are pushed to your max, and I think that was a great place to be before I came out here and then ended up meeting these great guys, and then we hit it off pretty well. So I think in the time I think it was perfect timing when we all kind of lined up and met each other. So that's pretty much kind of like the history behind where we are now for me.
So she's been basically having it up for her whole life, basically.
I woke up, when I was born, I started crying, and then I was like, you know what I mean?
There you go. Well, and is this the first time you've ever actually been a part of a band? Did you always sing solo up to this point, or have you been in bands in the past?
Yeah, I had a couple of bands in New York, and then when I left, I was still doing my solo. So I was just either backed by a band or just doing it on track. So I've been in this scenario, but this is the longest I've been in a band scenario, and it's been great so far. So this is it's been last almost over a year. So it's been great. Yeah,
well, and no offense, guys, but I'm going to tell you, to have a female fronting your band, that's pretty cool stuff, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Spoken from a female, of course. But I mean, your vocals are they just fit the music. And and everything just meshes together so well. The sound is phenomenal. So I guess my next question for you guys is what, when you started out as the band Neverwonder, was rock, a pop rock sound kind of what you were leaning towards to start with, or was that just something that kind of happened as you were, getting together and doing music?
Oh, the concept of Neverwonder is it's like a soup, right? Like maybe I'll bring a riff in, I'll bring a riff into the band, and we'll just, everybody starts putting their 2 5 cents, 12 cents into the soup, and then that's what happens with Neverwonder. It's just everybody's ideas go to the table, and then together we start picking the parts that everybody likes, and then being in a band, it's a compromise, but a good compromise. It's not bad because you have a lot of genuinely talented musicians in the room, and everybody respects each other's opinions. So you put them out there, and everybody starts listening to them, and we work ideas, just like Scott said, you turn over every rock, and then you build it, and this is what's come out. It has a little old school, the vocals and stuff like that. So everybody puts a lot of 2 cents in, and for us it works well because everybody's vested into the music in the writing part, and I think that helps the songs and conveys them to the fans per se yourself.
Oh, definitely, and that is one thing that I love about your music is that it's got that reminiscent old school sound, but yet it's relevant to today. I mean, if there is such a word to describe that kind of music, but to me, I love it because I grew up, I was an 80s hairband girl all the way, and so, I love when I can hear a band of today that has a little bit of that sound integrated into what they do, like you guys, because it just kind of takes you back when you're listening, but yet you're getting the experience of good music today, and you're being reminded that it does still exist, even though it seems like it's far removed, from what it used to be. So it's always refreshing to hear a sound like yours, out there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Now, you guys have played at some of some really awesome venues, the House of Blues, the Roxy, the Key Club, the Viper Room. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And what is it like for you as a band when you go into one of these venues that, I'm on the East Coast and I've heard of these places. I've never been to L.A. I always wanted to get out there just to go for the pure, fun of it. But on the East Coast, I've heard of these places, and I know that there's just no hole in the wall, So what is it like for you guys to play in some of these big clubs like this?
Oh, it's great.
Right?
Yeah, it's actually, it's amazing. The drinks are expensive. Oh. But for real, I like playing the big places, the nice places. The PAs they sound good. The monitor system, you get a sound check, that type of thing. For me, I really enjoy the big sound, I like playing acoustically and in small venues as well, but some of those places have that, that look, the sound. You walk in and you're like, wow, this is a really cool spot, and we're going to rock this place, And I still get that feeling after I walk into them, 5 years later, 6 years later after we played them before. But it's always fun to go back, and then you either see a friend's band or like a national act come through, and you might go check them out. It's kind of cool because you have some memories there and whatnot. But a lot of the venues are really cool in L.A. I think they're pretty cool, and they sound pretty good actually too.
Well, I imagine that the adrenaline has just got to be flowing and pumping big time when you're in one of these places. And like you say, the sound, I mean, I love live music, first of all. And, you know, when you can go out to a venue and you can see a band that you really dig and the music's loud and proud, it is awesome. You know, it's great to hear it on an EP, you know, digital download or whatever. It is no compare to seeing a band live and being able to hear it, you know, firsthand, up close and personal. And but yeah, and those big venues like that, it's awesome. It's awesome for the fans to go out. So I imagine for you guys, it's quite the rush.
Absolutely.
Well, those bigger venues, definitely when you're on stage and the lighting's great, like House of Blues, and the sound system is fantastic, and you see all those faces out there. It's nothing like that when you have that feeling. And then going to iconic places like the Viper Room is kind of like, you know, CBGB's on the East Coast, you know. That'll be a fun one to be in because that has a lot of history. So there's always the difference of types of venues that you get different feelings from. But the most important is being able to connect with the crowd. It's always something great when you get to give some type of, you know, feedback from them. So it's always different in each place, you know.
Most definitely. Now, are you guys looking at doing some touring coming up, you know, outside of L.A.? You know, possible. I guess what I'm getting at, are you coming to the East Coast? Because I would love to see you guys if you venture this far.
I've been trying to get them out. We're trying to get all of us out there. Yeah, that's going to be our next step for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that would be go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, as in touring, you know, as we are an L.A. band, but we do travel around, and this weekend we're in San Francisco to do 3 shows up there. So, you know, San Diego, Vegas, you know, because of the gas prices and it's not, you know, big bands, you know, can, you know, absorb those costs and little bands, you know, or smaller bands, you'll say, it does take a hit to travel. It's not like we're flying and renting our equipment and stuff. So we have to travel with our equipment still. So we can't go totally like 3,000 miles to do one show. So everything's in the planning. It's just, you know, we have to make sure that we're, you know, that it works out financially. So, but yeah, obviously that would be great to play in New York or Boston or, you know, those type of places, or down south in Florida. I think Scott's played in a few of those places, but we haven't gone too far east. So
yeah, the East Coast has always been really cool in the sense of it's just very much the opposite of what the West Coast is. The West is wide open, and other than San Diego, you're looking at a 5 to 6 hour drive to almost any show. Where on the East Coast, it's almost like once you get there, you can have a show every 30, 40 minutes. I mean, there's a town with a good venue and a good fan base. It would be great, but it's funny how maybe in the 80s, LA was like the hot spot to be, and now everywhere in the world, from Seattle, especially Nashville. I mean, great bands are coming out of every town, so you can't just, you know, can't just look at LA as being the pinnacle anymore. You know, there's great places to play everywhere.
Oh, that is so true. I mean, it is amazing. And, you know, the world of social media has made that possible for so many bands who, you know, at one point in time were just playing in their local area because they didn't have all the amenities of social media to help promote themselves and get their music out there. And it's really helped to, you know, expand the horizons of bands in general and music artists alike, you know, unlike ever before. And it's an awesome thing. Well, if you guys get on the East Coast, you've got to come to North Carolina. And the 2 places to play, there are three places in North Carolina you can play that I know you could get into easily, and that's Charlotte, Greensboro, and Raleigh-Durham. Those are the 3 big metro areas in North Carolina. And there's some really good venues in all 3 cities that definitely welcome bands like yourself.
Really? Okay.
That have national acts in them and everything too, but they do bring on a lot of you know, indies that draw big crowds, and so those are the 3 big areas in North Carolina. And I'm kind of about, I don't know, in between Raleigh-Durham and Greensboro, where I live and base. But yeah, they're the 3 major cities, and they you know, that's where all the bands perform. Even national acts, when they come through, on tour, they go to one of those 3 cities to perform. So, we got to get you to the East Coast. Let's hope it happens.
Yeah, like if you can,
sure.
if you know of anybody who's, going to be able to assist with that, we would love to make it up. Absolutely.
Well, I definitely will do everything I can in terms of, like, if I, I'll get some info over to your guys, your people, and let them know to funnel it down or to you directly, whatever, just so you have the contact info, and then, hopefully from there something will materialize. That's always,
sure.
Because, when you're on the West Coast, you're right, it makes no sense to drive 3,000 miles to do one show, but if you could do a series of shows, and of course I'm thinking, I'm 2 hours from Charlotte, I'm 45 minutes from Raleigh, and I'm 30 minutes from Greensboro. So I could see you guys 3 times, technically, if you come to North Carolina. So.
Exactly.
Anyway, and of course with the radio show here, I can help promote it as well. So that would be what I would like to do for you guys.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your music, because your latest release is called Really Let It Out. So talk about the birth of this album and where your inspiration came from in making it.
Well, okay. The album, the music. Before we had Alima, we had these songs kind of demoed out, and we had another singer. And we had some of the songs put together and whatnot. And then when Alima got in the band, we presented the ideas to Alima, and instead of waiting a whole year, a year and a half to not redo, but to make new songs and then go in the studio and do all this, we presented like 15 tracks to Alima, and we asked her to pick the 5 or 6 best that she liked, and then she started working on them as on a rehearsal stage, and then we started busting them out. We did them in the studio, and what we came up with was something we didn't expect it to be as good as it came out. Our last singer was pretty good. We had no problems with that, but Alima did some other stuff to it that conveyed herself and brought the band to another level. So it was a good place for us. So you're listening to the stuff now, so I'm happy that you're liking it. So
oh yeah, and well, I've listened to both EPs and I love them both. They're both great, just great stuff. Period. But I love how the second one. It was kind of like a play on words, because your first EP was called Let It Out, and this was Really Let It Out. and to hear the backstory behind how that EP came together, it is interesting because you really did let it out. You got it out on an EP with the new lead singer. It's really out there now, so that's pretty clever.
So you were the first person to call us out on it.
Oh, I know. Well, I wouldn't call it out.
Oh no, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. No, to be honest with you, and it's a perfectly legit question. It's our history, and we have no problem. Here's what it is: we released a full album, and Scott Dre and I had this whole plan of what we wanted to do, date set up, PR. We had it released in February-ish, March, and we had the summer planned, and it just didn't work out with the other singer after putting a whole album together. So the 2 boys and myself, we went back into the lab and found another singer, and instead of hibernating that album and never letting it to come to light, basically because we had 3 show guys to promote the thing, and they blew up. And the press was great, but then Alima came along and she liked the song, so it worked out. And so this time we are really letting it out, So that's kind of the whole thing.
Well, I kind of caught that, so that's cool. Now, do you guys do you have a particular song on this album, the current album, that you enjoy performing the most, or do you all have your individual favorites?
Scotty.
Well, I would think in each case, each member is going to have their favorite. The one that we've been getting, we like all the songs just the same, but for the most part I think a lot of people are clamoring for the song Help Me. So that's good. Other places, they've liked other songs. Help Me seems to be the one everyone's really connecting with. As long as they're grabbing one of our tunes, I'm cool with that,
Mhm. That's right. So, have you guys got any new music in the works? You know, are you currently working on anything for your next EP, or what's happening for you guys?
We definitely are. We have been in progress since the beginning because obviously we have this material, and then for me, I write as well, so it was important. Like first with the Really Let It Out album, to connect with the songs, which have been great. So being able to connect with those songs, and now moving forward, we've had some music and material that we've been working together, which has been great, and we just can't wait. We've got a couple that we've been throwing out there when we perform, but that's the next step to get our new album out together as that's a collaborative piece that we really have done on our own. So that's been in the works in the last year or so, but it's been going, so it's been great. It's exciting to now have 3 other guys to collaborate with, and it's great to have their input, good and bad. That's not saying anything. Right.
So now, upcoming, I mean, you guys are going to be playing some dates pretty quickly. As you said, this coming weekend, you'll be out in San Francisco. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, it is.
So for any listeners out there who are in the San Fran area, get out and see these guys. They are awesome. I can tell you, I've heard their music, and you will not be disappointed. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And are you at the same venue all 3 nights, or in different places?
No, for Friday, it's going to be the Shine Lounge in San Francisco. And that's more of a electric show. And then Saturday, it's called Panama Reds, and that's more of an acoustic show. And then the Sunday show, which is going to be a kind of a crazy one. We've been doing a lot of them, actually 17 of them. It's called the Rock and Roll Marathon, and we kind of tour around with them. And it's like this one will probably be like 25,000 runners, and we play for them. And it's early in the morning for rock bands. 8 in the morning is early. So, so we do that, and it gets us a lot of exposure, and it go out. We do the Los Angeles one, we do Pasadena, we do Vegas, and all these other ones. So it's been good for us.
That's awesome. You guys are definitely all over the map. I mean, out there and playing a lot of good shows and involved with a lot of good things, to help get your music out there, which is incredible.
Yeah, and then the following weekend we're back here at home for our Viper Room show. That's the 12th, which is Dre's birthday.
Dre's birthday.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Well, happy birthday early and playing the Viper on your birthday. How cool is that?
Yeah.
That everybody has to buy Dre a drink that night.
Yep. It's just got to be after we play, though.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that probably would be good. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being my special guest this evening on our show, and best of luck to you guys. I'm so excited, and I really hope that you guys are able to get to the East Coast at some point, because I would love to come out and see you live. I know you're awesome.
Thank you.
And to all the listeners out there, if you want to check out Neverwonder, they are at neverwonder.com. You can also follow them on Twitter at NeverwonderBand, I believe it is, right? Am I right?
Correct.
Yeah, Neverwonder Band.
Facebook. And Facebook. And also
Or you can just do a Google search and find them all over the map.
Yeah.
But you guys are great, and I would love to have you back, especially, as you get ready to release the next album. And, if you got any other great news you want to share with the listeners, we're glad to have you back anytime. You guys are awesome.
John,
very much.
Well, thank
John,
you. Yeah?
John, I just want to really say, Scott kind of said something earlier about turning a rock over. We're a local band from L.A. and stuff like that, and putting our name out there. We appreciate what you do for bands like us, not only us, but all other bands. To get the indie word out from bands, it means a lot to me personally, and I know Neverwonder, but all the other bands. So thank you for what you do for all bands and musicians, putting us out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so kind to say that. I'm happy to do it. I love doing this, and because I tell you, the indie music world is just full of great music, great artists, great musicians, and I've often said that it is the unintentional best-kept secret of the music industry, and mainstream music producers and record labels do not have a clue what they're missing, in my opinion. So each and every one of you needs to be heard. Some of the best music I've ever heard in my life, and it needs to be out there. It needs to be promoted. And I love the fact that it's not cookie-cutterish, and, it's not in a box where you've got a set of rules that you got to go by. You can be as creative as you want to be, and that's the reason why it's such good stuff. So yeah, we will do all we can here to keep promoting you guys as often as possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, best of luck to you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thanks again for being our special guest tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, and good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. We have just been speaking with the band Neverwonder, and they're from the L.A. Area of California, and awesome band. I would implore you to go to their website, neverwonder.com, check out their music. They have both of their albums up on the site, and you can listen to, a snippet of each one of the songs, enough to get a taste of what their music is all about. And if you love, a rock and you love pop rock, it's great because it's a good infused mix of different genres in their music, and their musical style is awesome, and I really love it. And also, if you are an 80s hair band fan, you're going to love this band because there are hints and traces of old school rock in there, and that's what kind of really turned me on to them to start with, was because I could hear that in it. Yet they're so relevant to today, and I think they're going to have a great, great career ahead of them. They're really great band, and Alima, she is a phenomenal lead singer. So check them out. You will be glad you did. All right, that is going to wrap our show for this evening, and I want to thank everyone for listening and joining us tonight. If you're brand new to our program, please don't be a stranger. We welcome you back anytime. We would love to have you back with us. And so we're just always glad to have these indie artists on and promoting them every chance we get. So please, if you like what you hear, go out and support them because they need your support. They don't do this stuff for their health. They really do love what they do, and they pour their heart and soul into every song they write and they produce. They don't have major record labels backing them. Everything they do is pretty much self-funded. So if you like it, support them. And so with that, I will say good night, and please join us tomorrow evening. We will be right back here, 7 p.m. Eastern. Our special guest will be Roderick Williams, who plays Tyler Michelson on The Young and the Restless. So everyone have a great night, and we will see you again real soon. Take care. Good night.
Thanks for listening to tonight's show. You can connect to Behind the Mic Radio on Twitter at BT Mic Radio and on Facebook at Behind the Mic Radio. Check out our website at BehindTheMicRadio.com. Also, follow us right here on Blog Talk Radio, where you can stay up to date on all upcoming shows. Every episode is available for immediate download upon the conclusion of each broadcast, and as always on iTunes. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's show has been brought to you by One Taste of Main Street Cake Shop, baked from scratch, custom-made cakes and cupcakes, and you'll be hooked. Every cake is made to order with only the finest and freshest ingredients. This is no ordinary bakery. Cakes are never pre-made. Main Street Cake Shop is in demand, having provided cakes and cupcakes for numerous prestigious events, bridal fairs, and venues. Owned and operated by April Murray, she has garnered many awards for not only her exquisite cake designs, but also for their incredible taste. If you're looking for a cake for any occasion, or cupcakes in a variety of flavors, then Main Street Cake Shop is the place. Visit them on the web at mainstreetcakeshop.com.